You are here on purpose, with a purpose by design and not by default. And it is your time right now to share your story on Right Now. Hey everybody, I'm Pamela. Thank you for coming back to Right Now, an author's platform. And today we continue in our incredible series, The Women of the Power Voice. Oh my gosh, this anthology is amazing. All of these powerful, mighty women trained at the knee of the legendary Les Brown and the amazing Jon Talarico, and all of them putting their stories in this book, and it's transforming lives all over the globe. I tell you, every time I have one of these authors on here, they take me to school. And it's going to be the same way today, because my dear friend and somebody that I get to work with in different arenas of self-discovery is with me, and she's one of our amazing authors. My friend, let's welcome Kelisha. Woo!
Thank you so much, Pamela. I am so excited to be here with you today, and I'm excited to be here with all of you today as well. It's such a plum-pleasing pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Plum-pleasing pleasure. I love that. Don't you just love that, how he says that? And what was the last part? Plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege, right? Is that right? Did I get it right? I think so. Okay, so Kelisha, it is a plum-pleasing pleasure and a privilege to be with you. Would you tell everybody who you are? Who are you, Kelisha?
Absolutely. My name is Kelisha Worrell. I am a mother of a champion. My son is 14 years old, and I look up to him, physically look up to him. He is 6 foot tall, and also in my heart as well. He is my inspiration, and seeing his drive and his go for life allows me to be able to go even harder. So I'm super excited to just be a mom. And then I am an author. I am a #1 best-selling author. I'm a coach. I am a speaker, and I am here with you here today on the Pamela Show. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we are so excited that you are here. Okay, 2 really quick add-on questions. Number 1, your son is 6 feet tall. Is that what you said, or over 6 feet?
He is 6 foot tall, and he's only 14 years old. I don't know how tall he's going to grow, but he is growing.
Okay, so now, how tall are you?
I am 5'7".
Okay, so you are definitely looking up.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
wow. Okay, so I said that I had 2 questions, or 2. Well, the second one isn't really it is a question, but I would like to ask you to let everybody in a little bit on something, and that is that this incredible woman goes on tour. Okay, she tours and is giving presentations and speaking as a motivational speaker with some powerful folks. You just got back from one. You're going to be going to another one. Can you share a little bit about what that's like to be traveling, and who you're traveling with, and what is it like to be on tour?
Oh my goodness, it's the most fulfilling feeling because I'm able to reach so many people's lives, being able to go to so many different places, hear their stories, meet these people who have these incredible comeback stories in person. I mean, it's amazing. I'm truly honored to be able to do it. I really feel that it's a calling that God has placed upon my life to go and listen, right? Because yes, I am a speaker, I am a coach. With that being said, the most important and valuable aspect is to listen to the stories, listen to what people need, right? Not just what we think we would need to say, but really speaking through, having God speak through us, sharing the message of hope, sharing the message of you can come back even stronger than you even started out the first time, right? Those transformation stories. So it's amazing. I've been on tour with Billy Alsbrooks, Barry Overton. I mean, some phenomenal people who are just groundbreaking in this industry. I just I'm overwhelmed with joy, and I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. I'm coming to your town.
Yeah, come on up here. We want to do it. Let's have a Northland tour. Let's go. Preferably in the summer. That would be better, I think.
Absolutely.
Probably be better. That is so awesome. And talking about hearing people's stories, we want to hear yours. So we are ready to get, take our cup of coffee or tea or whatever, and just kind of kick back and hear your story. So tell us, how did you connect with how did you connect with Les Brown? And I'm curious, before you got to Les Brown, were you doing motivational speaking? Because now you are out here traveling and you're on tour and all of this awesome stuff and doing online summits that you're putting together. Not that you're not just a guest speaker. You're like, hey, I'm going to do a summit. Do you want to speak at my summit? So were you doing that kind of thing before you ran into Mr. Brown? And how did you get connected with Les Brown to begin with?
Absolutely. It's a phenomenal just journey that I've been on. I've actually been coaching for the last 10 years. I've been speaking for the last 9 years. And it's just been just amazing how things have fallen together or come together. It first started out with me speaking about 9 years ago at it was an event, it was a conference. And I built my business. My first business was called Explosive Results. Explosive Results. And I just laugh because, the comparison of where I was and where I am now, there's such an alignment. There's such an alignment with the things that are going on in my life, but I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. So how I started was I was speaking about 9 years ago, started the coaching business, and I knew in my heart that's exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't know exactly how it was going to all unfold, and I didn't have the connections, I didn't have the resources, but I had the belief. I had the belief that this is my calling. I am here to help transform lives, right? I didn't even have all of the tools that people use even nowadays. There was no streaming. There was no, the social media was not like it is now. But I had a vision and I had the belief. The vision was to help millions of people transform their lives through helping them unveil their story about themselves. Because although we experience our lives, sometimes it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. Just to help people to be able to see the picture that God placed upon their lives, help them move forward, take action. I'm very big on action taking steps, help guide them towards what they're truly looking for, because we all have everything that we need. So after speaking, I met my mentor, Barry Overton, at that conference about 9 years ago, and he walked right in. We started talking about just the mindset, right? The mindset of a champion, the mindset of being successful, because success speaks its own language. It's not the whole frou-frou, stay positive and hopeful, go out into the garden and say, there's no weeds, when there really are. No, this is about seeing the weeds and pulling those weeds out. And so we're just talking about mindset and how to be able to move forward. There's a book that we both have read, and we still talk about it to this day, and it's called Outwitting the Devil. Now, we started talking about this book and collaborating. Next thing you know, I'm invited to a 2-time Super Bowl champion of the Broncos in Colorado. And Barry Overton and Rod Smith, they both became my mentors for years to come, and still currently in my life, mentoring me just as I walked in the door as they were 9 years ago. So it's just been a blessing to be in the mindset, to be in the heart set and spirit set of who God wanted me to be, because that would have never happened if I was falling following anyone else or doing something that doesn't align with who I know I am. So that's an encouragement, just a side note to everyone watching. You may miss opportunities if you're not staying true to who you are, because who you are is going to keep coming around. That thing you see so often that comes up and comes up and comes up, that's probably the thing that you are called to do, right? Sometimes we're even running away from it because we fear the responsibility. And that's something along my journey that I feared. I was fearful of the responsibility, right? What if it works out and I can't handle the success? Wow. That kept me away from my success for a very long time. A very long time. I made incremental gains. I did. And I have made quantum leaps along the way. But in regards to the years that I really surrendered to fear, I was afraid of the internet for years, completely afraid. I was afraid of talking to people. And I know you're thinking, how is a motivational speaker, she's an author, all this, how could she be afraid to talk to people? Well, see, if you don't know who you are truly, then you will not speak to the person that you need to be speaking to, which is the true self. You won't be speaking from that person, I should say. You won't be speaking from that person. You'll be trying to script. Not saying scripting is bad, but when you can speak from your heart, when you know who you are, when you know how to move forward with clarity and own your story, own who you are and everything about you and embody that, then you will only be living a limited life. And when I had surrendered to fear, surrendered to doubt, moving forward still, but not yet unveiling who I really am, I was only speaking out of a limited space. So when as I began on my journey, just the ball kept rolling and years went by, getting mentored, being poured into by Barry Overton, being poured into by Rod Smith and some other amazing people, studying Napoleon Hill, studying Claude Bristol, being in the arena of personal development for the last 9 years allowed me to be where you see me right now. It's not something that just happens overnight, and you don't want it to happen overnight. And there's a reason for that. The reason is if it happens overnight, then no one can really relate to your story. How many lives can you help if you won the lottery? We all know that money doesn't stay. And why is that, right? Well, see, if you're not creating value in the marketplace, if you're not creating value in people's lives, if you don't know how to do that, then you can receive a blessing, but you won't be able to keep the blessing. And that's what we're aiming for, is to keep the blessing. So as my journey gradually just progressed, I gained the understanding that pain and success go hand in hand. See, before I was trying to get away from pain and I was trying to get towards success, but I didn't have the understanding that they both go hand in hand. You can't have success without pain because you won't grow. And you can't have pain and think that you're going to have success if you're always just staying in pain. You need to have a growth mindset. So they go together. And that's something that is hard to digest or ingest or to think about, because no one wants the painful hardships that come along with success.
Right.
And, we always hear people say, if you want to be where I am, then you have to go through what I went through. You have to experience the pressure and the cuts that have happened to me along the way. Isn't that how diamonds are made?
That's right.
Heat, they're cut a certain way, right? The more clarity they have, the more valuable they are. Well, same with us. The more clarity we have, the more valuable we are, because now we're talking through our true self, which is where I for many years was trying to get to. But now here I am, after all the mentorship, after all the training, all of the investing in myself, stretching myself. Even when I didn't have it, I still invested in myself. Those meetings, and I know I'm speaking to a lot of you right now. When you go to those meetings and family or friends, maybe your spouse asks you, well, did you make any money? Yes, you did. Because every time you go there, that is a chunk of prosperity that is being deposited into a bank account for you that you will receive.
Yes.
Keep moving forward. Keep believing, because that's what I had to do. There were many times in the car where I was crying because I didn't see my success overnight, right? But I had to gain the understanding that if I want to relate to people, if I want to create value in people's lives, I have to do it with understanding the process of how life flows in the mindset. So it landed me all the way into Les Brown's program. It was amazing. I went along this journey of developing myself and being mentored all these, 9-10 years back. I met a lovely woman at a conference. We sat side by side at a table at this conference. One of the number one income earners in the world, his wife was speaking and so graciously gave me the mic. I got to speak to so many people that day and really unveiled a lot for people in that room, which was a blessing. But I met her, and she was so kind. And at that conference was the last time I've ever seen her. 10 years later, at 6 o'clock in the morning, she sent me an invite to come to Les Brown's Facebook page. I had one eye open. I couldn't even see straight. I was so tired. I just clicked the OK button and joined the Facebook page. I saw Les Brown. I saw her. That was enough for me, and I'm in. So I completely forgot about it. Months went by. My mentor, Barry Overton, he told me about Les Brown, and I went inside of Les Brown's program after some mental adjustment, we can say. There were some things I was fighting against, some limiting beliefs I was fighting against. I could tell you, I saw this gentleman. He had one skate on. He was skating. He had a tennis ball and a racket in his hand. He looked like the Olympic gold champion, just doing his thing. And so I ended up buying some skates myself. I was so just in awe. I bought skates myself, went to the park, and I heard God speaking to my soul saying, how long are you going to stay on this path? How long are you going to settle for less than what you know you can have? So what I did was, I knew that he was speaking to joining Les Brown's Power Voice. I had some income set aside for some certain things, and I wanted to use it on some certain things. And God said, well, if you use it on certain things, then where's your life transformation going to start? When are you going to be ready? Because you can move to a different home, but let me tell you something. This is God speaking to me. When you do move to another home, your problems are going to move with you. And that's when I said, okay, I am all in for the Power Voice, and I joined the program. It was an amazing experience. I met Mr. Les Brown, one of the legendary motivational speaker in this world. He really taught me how to own my voice, how to own the stage, how to own who I am and speak from that place of authenticity. And so, so many great things led into me being where I am right now, but that was the biggest gift that God could give me, in those times. with COVID happening is to set my mental focus on who God wants me to be through Les Brown's Power of Voice. So that's my story of how I even got into the Power of Voice, how I just cultivated my mindset along the way and really found out who I am so that I can go full steam forward in the journey of developing myself and helping other people to do the same.
That is such an amazing story. So you mentioned people surrender to fear, and that you had surrendered to fear. Can you expound on that a little bit? What does that mean to surrender to fear?
Yes. So when you surrender to fear, one thing is first and foremost, you know it. We all know it. When we surrender to fear, that consciousness about us tells us that we're surrendering. That means that we also have a consciousness that knows we don't have to. And in that very moment, we think that that's the only position that we can take is surrenderance, because we are afraid of ourselves. Really, we're afraid of ourselves. We're afraid of the person who we don't know yet. Is this person capable of even handling the success? I didn't have a fear of failure. In school, I went through so many challenges in school, and I'm just going to be very honest. I didn't get the best of grades, but honestly, that helped me just make quantum leaps in my life. Why? Because of my grades in school. I had to know what it felt like at an early age, what it felt like to be rejected, what it felt like to go all in, right? To what it felt like to have a comeback. That's how I know what a comeback is, because at a very early age, I had to have many comeback stories to get where I am now, to really lean on faith, knowing that, you know what, giving myself grace, knowing that I'm going to do the best that I can do. Yes, I messed up. How can I move forward? I learned all these skills at a very young age because of the different challenges that I faced, even in school. And so coming out of that, surrendering to fear, is there's different levels. Every time you unveil a new area in your life, a new space within yourself, you are facing a new self that you don't know yet. And what I did was I surrendered to less than, because it was a comforting space. Sometimes when we're facing fear, all we want is to be comforted. But when we go to a place of comfort, a place of safety, what looks like safety, but really isn't, it's an illusion of safety. But when we go to those places, we feel as though we're safe because we are familiar with that place within ourselves. Every time we get unfamiliar, we have to tread through an experience in our bodies. It might look like anxiety. It might look like even frustration, right? Fear, sweating. You're afraid. But if you can just keep going through, Les Brown says something so phenomenal. He says, if you're going through hell, then keep going, because you're not going to pack up and live there. You're going to keep moving forward. So if you're feeling like you're facing hell right now, just keep going through, and you're not going to stay. All of the amazing things you want in your life are going to be unveiled out of that. And it was so funny because I thought today about a haunted house. We've all been to a haunted house. And when you go through a haunted house, and I'm speaking about, Halloween time and people are going through there. I do not go anymore. That's not place for me at all. Very funny stories have come out of that. But if you're going through there, you don't just stop and say, I'm going to go back to the entrance. No one does that. Just keep going through. If you have to run, run. If you're walking, walk. If you got to crawl, crawl. But don't go back. A lot of times, that's exactly what we do mentally, is we get scared and we go back and then we face the same monsters that try to scare us over and over again. So that's just my synopsis of me surrendering to fear, me awakening to the fact that I'm burning the ships, I'm not going back, and I'm going to continue to go through the experiences until I get to where I need to be.
Wow, that sounds to me like what you're saying is that you're going to always have a new you, that next level, right?
Right.
And that committee, that small voice telling you you can't do it, and you start feeling fearful that you can make a choice in that situation, and that in that moment to press through it, which is what I would call courage. You still have fear, you're just facing it. And that if you face it and run through that fear, that you are going to embrace all kinds of greatness. But if you surrender, you listen to that voice, and you allow yourself to stay in that place of uncertainty controlling you. I mean, we're going to have uncertainty. Then we're not going to get to that next place that, you know, God, heaven, the universe has ordained for us to have. And looking at your story, you said that in school you said you suffered from rejection. So I wrote that down, and I'm like, okay, listen, y'all. She started okay, let's go back to school here, in rejection, and ends up meeting Les Brown. Come on. She started with grades that it sounds like you weren't necessarily proud of. You know, some people are like, hey, yay, I got a D, woohoo. And other people are like, got a D, right? And so you had grades that for whatever reason you felt weren't good enough. You felt rejected. There was other stuff going on. And you, through different things that happen in your life, end up meeting face to face Les Brown. That is absolutely amazing because you chose to stop surrendering to fear and to press through it courageously. I wrote a couple other notes here. You said, in order to receive the blessing, you have to keep the blessing. Did I say that right? Receive the blessing, keep the blessing. I mean, that was profound. Did I say that correctly, or did I say it backwards? And you said, receive the blessing, keep the blessing.
Yes, you have to be able to keep it. You're going to receive the blessing, but it's about keeping the blessing. And if you're unaware of what it takes in the process to create success or create value in other people's lives, then you won't be able to keep the blessing because you don't have the understanding.
All of these things came to you. You were asked to go speak with Barry. That was a blessing being received to you. If you had said no, you wouldn't have kept the blessing, even though it was offered to you. You had coaches, mentors, people that spoke into you. They gave blessing to you. You kept it by moving forward. Continuing on, you get to power voice. You had the opportunity. Somebody sends you the message, 6:00 in the morning. You didn't quite click the button yet. Barry comes back. Again, your mentor tells you about it. You end up saying, okay, I'm going to keep this blessing. You end up on Power Voice, and you actually meet Les Brown. So you're like sitting at his knee pretty much, because I remember I was in those classes, and there he is live and in person, talking straight to you, talking straight to each student, talking to us, interacting with us. And then there's a summit, and you spoke at one of those summits. What was that like to go from the person who was stuck in rejection to meeting Les Brown to sharing the cyber stage with him?
Absolutely. It was an amazing experience, unforgettable, a very igniting of the soul, if you will. It was amazing. So when I did speak on the Power Voice, just seeing myself really walking through this moment, knowing that everything that I've gone through in the past was for a reason,
Yes.
knowing that I'm really being aligned because everything that I've gone through wasn't really against me, but was building me
Mm.
into the person I needed to be for those moments, to even say yes, to walk with confidence moving forward, knowing that what I'm doing is bigger than me, knowing that many people's lives are going to be changed. Knowing that I can do it, right? I think that that's just the biggest part, is showing up, right? If we could just make it to the stage, make it to the stage of life, then God will take care of the rest. So when I spoke on the Power Voice, it was really my first time speaking about some of the experiences that have been transitional in my life. I spoke about how I was going through different time periods in my life that just about broke me down.
Mm.
Uh, but because I had mentorship in my ear, I had Barry Overton, always being able to support me in the way of encouragement and mentorship, and in aligning my thinking, realigning it every time it got um, you know taken somewhere else. He helped to realign and help me move forward in forward movement directions. So when I spoke on the Power Voice, I spoke about those experiences. I spoke about how great mentorship is, and how when you are in those situations, it's vital that you have someone in your ear
Mhm.
telling you that you can do it. I remember this time I was laying on the ground, in this house that had just been, I knew the person, and they had an apartment, and there was nothing inside, no couch, no bed, no pots, pans, nothing with no food, nothing was inside. It was just an apartment that they had. And so they allowed me to stay inside of there for some months. And I was with my son. So you can imagine how thoughts could come into play and try to torture your mind, saying, look at you having your son. I had an air mattress, sleep on the air mattress in this room. There's nothing in the house. How bad of a mother are you? How dare you take him to this place? You can't even provide this. You can't even provide that. Look at you. You can't even provide for yourself. What are you doing? So many thoughts playing in my mind. And at that moment, I had a choice to make. Am I going to be defeated, or am I going to be walking with faith, knowing that the decisions that I've made to get to this point, yes, they may seem like harsh conditions, but sometimes, like I said, if you're going through hell, you've got to keep walking. You've got to keep walking through the things that are trying to tear you down, that are trying to really disintegrate who you are inside. And guess what? Heaven is always right there. It's always there inside of you, on earth as it is in heaven, right? It's inside. So we have to tap into this place inside that we know, that God is always at. And when I realized that my outer world didn't control my inner world, that's when I started to win mentally. In those harsh conditions. And I remember me laying on the ground, and I looked up out the window, and I just saw in my mind me speaking on the stage with Les Brown. And by the end of the conference, we were both on the stage. I stuck out my finger, and he twirled me around and around and around, and it was so amazing. And everyone started cheering and just, "Wah!" It was amazing. Thousands of people were there. And guess what? That actually came to pass. We were in his program, and there was this night where I just said, you know what? I'm going to be there. I'm going to speak with Mr. Les Brown. That happened. I reached out my finger. He put up his hand, and I was twirling around and twirling around. And everyone just started to just scream and shout and everything. And that experience was shared with my son there. And it was the most phenomenal thing. So that just goes to show, and this is 6 years later, 6 years later, this happened. And so 6 years ago, I saw myself, even in those conditions, laying on the ground, looking out the window, seeing that happening. And now today it has happened. And what happens in your mind, if you can keep the vision, if you can keep the belief in your heart, those things will come to pass. It's kind of like life is a game of who can hold the vision the longest. And so I love to play that game because I have found the way to hold that vision and not let it go. So that's my, great experience meeting Jon Talarico. He has transformed my entire life as a mentor, coach. Just, his everything that he's doing, his program, is just phenomenal. And I just want to just acknowledge how much a mentor, how much a coach can help you to make quantum leaps in your life more than you trying to handle it yourself. Because if I had tried to handle it myself, we don't know where I would be at this very moment.
Kelisha, I remember that night when you twirled with Mr. Brown. And I remember, my eyes welling up with tears. I knew you from a distance at that time. Didn't know you like we know each other now. But I remember seeing Mr. Brown put out his hand and you put out your hand and him twirling you around. And it was such one of those moments like freeze frame. You want to freeze frame that moment and how much it meant to you. And I could tell how much it was touching him as well and meant to all of us that were watching. And I want to say this. The reason that it happened for Kelisha is because, as she said, just show up. She showed up when it was hard. She showed up when she didn't want to. She kept running through hell and got out of there. She said, move forward. And even if that's a baby step at a time, but because you kept moving forward, even when you were laying on the ground, on the inside, you were moving forward. Even when there wasn't a bed to lay on, you were moving forward. Even when there wasn't anything, pots or pans in the cupboards, you got up again. You showed up again. And because you continued to do that, you end up twirling with Mr. Brown, speaking on the cyber stage with him. He was sitting there watching you, listening to you, cheering you on. And then we fast forward to the book, the anthology, The Women of the Power Voice. And now you're going to put your story, which is amazing, I just showed up. I kept moving forward. I just kept running right on through hell when I was there. Now that's going to be in writing, and it is in writing. And you're here today because of it. That girl that felt rejected, that young woman that was living in an apartment that had no anything in it, kept showing up, kept showing up, kept showing up, kept listening to her mentors. And now here you are on the other side of that. You're an author, you're a speaker, you've twirled with Mr. Brown. You are an international best-selling author telling your story tonight. People are picking up your story in the book and they're reading it. What do you have to say about that?
It's just an amazing journey. Fear not. Fear not.
Yes.
The good book says to fear not, because you have everything that you need. You just have to believe it.
Yes.
When fear rears its ugly head at you, you've got to keep moving forward, knowing that it's just an illusion. And
Yes.
so that's something that I had to really come to the understanding with. It's just an illusion, and the rejection that I have felt, it it caused limiting beliefs that I had in my mind. And the advice I have for you is just allow yourself to be. If someone is rejecting you, don't reject yourself because of it. It's not you who is broken. It's not you who there's something wrong with you, but it's the perception of that person trying to project whatever it is, whatever negativity it is, onto you. I say, don't take it. Don't buy into it. Just
Don't take
be.
it. Don't take it.
Mhm.
That is so powerful. Don't take it. So you're saying you can actually grab a hold of the stuff that they're saying or doing or not saying or not doing, and you can actually take it. You're saying don't take it. That's powerful. Keep going.
Absolutely. You can, because you can accept or reject whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought that I had to accept whatever came to me. But
Sure.
now that I know I don't have to, I have control over my life. If no one can make me happy and no one can make me sad or mad, I have to accept or reject the thoughts that they put place upon me. And if I'm happy, if someone makes me happy, it's because I'm embracing that thought. I'm embracing them, right? And I'm opening that door. But only you can decide. And that's something that was so valuable for me to be able to know, how to own my voice as well. There's no other voice in this world like each and every one of our voices. There's only one. And to know how special that is, you are one of a kind. And I met this amazing during this time. I met this amazing woman, and she inspired me so much. And just to hear her voice was very comforting to me during this time, because even when I was doing the power voice, there were times where I questioned things about, should I take this step, should I not take this step, how should I align things, how should I realign, and she really was a comfort in my life, and still is a comfort in my life, really keeping me accountable to move forward, and just to see how she has moved forward and always looking to help other people and to pull them forward as she moves forward is just such an amazing, I guess, embrace in the heart to see. And her name is Pamela Henkel. And and you have been just very awe-inspiring yourself. I can tell you, everyone, when you enter programs, have the intention of God bringing angels into your life, because Pamela, I could say this with a true heart, is an angel in my life. She is really, there's challenges that I've gone through in life, and she's been able to say, hey, but look up on the mountaintop, right? She had someone who was significant in her life, and this person always said, I go from mountaintop to mountaintop. I remember the day she told me that. And it wasn't because this person just was, walking on every single mountaintop and didn't experience the valleys, but they experienced the valleys, but kept their focus upon the mountaintop. And when she told me that, and she talked to me and told me that, Pamela did, it changed a lot for me, the perceptions, right? Not the valleys. We don't pack up and live there, but to keep our eyes and focus on the mountaintop. So I want to thank you, Pamela, for being able to be that guiding light, and also that embracing heart, letting me know that, hey, these things are not here to stay, but they're here to pass. And also, how can we move forward in these situations? So that has been a game changer. I want to thank you.
Okay, I'll pay you later. No, I'm kidding. I wasn't expecting any of that. Kelisha, you are amazing. Thank you. Those kind words mean so much to me. It is so important that we support each other and that we are there for each other and we encourage each other and we help each other keep our eyes looking up, because life is always going to happen. It's what are you going to do with what happens, right? And you have always chosen, when it's hard, that you're not going to quit, that you're not going to give up, that when life deals you lemon, you're like, let's make some lemonade, let's have a party, like let's just keep going through, let's not stop. And I love that, because that has taken you from glory to glory, from place to place. And here we are tonight together and talking about all the great things that have happened, and there's so much more to come. So
Absolutely.
if anybody wants to reach out to you and talk to you about the book, talk to you about coming and speaking, or hear about your next summit that you're putting on or something, how do people reach out to you?
Absolutely. I just want to say this before we wrap up. Um, Everyone, connect to someone who inspires you in life. You never know where they would lead you to. When I was going through a time in my life, Pamela reached out to me, and boom, here I am, and being a number one best-selling author. But it's only because she reached out to me and said, hey, there's a great opportunity going on. I want to be able to offer you this opportunity. Her being the visionary, her being the person who is always looking to uplift other people, that really inspired my heart, and that was a go for me. So what is going to get you to the next level? Look around, see who you're connected with, and go with the person who is doing what you want to do. My name is Kelisha Worrell. You can reach me at KelishaWorrell.com. All my social media platforms are my first and last name. Thank you so much for having me here tonight, Pamela. And thank you all for being here.
Oh my goodness. Just show up. That's it. Just show up. Keep going. Don't quit. Keep going. Keep marching. Fabulous. Kelisha, this has been amazing. And you are such an inspiration to me and to so many others. Thank you for being on right now. It's been such a treasure and a treat to have you here with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela.
Thank you. And to everybody else who's been here, I know you are so excited. I know you are so pumped after hearing Kelisha's story. You're going to go find her on social media. You're going to get her involved in what's happening with you, and you're going to allow her to uplift and inspire you. Check her out, because as you can tell, she is not just a bounce back champion. She is a keep going and show up champion, and she can teach you and encourage you how to do the same way. So thank you for being here. And would you do Kelisha and I a story? I don't know why I was going to say that. Would you do us a favor? As Les Brown says, like it and share it. Maybe that's for story. Like it and share the story. There we go. Like it and share it. Could you do that for us? Could you like this and share it? You could share it on social media. You could send it to somebody in an email. Let's take Kelisha's story all around the world, because you know what? There are people out there waiting to hear her story. Her voice matters and her stories matter. And so does yours. Your voice matters. Your story matters. There are people waiting to hear from you. So guess what? You are here on purpose, with a purpose, by design, not by default. So go on out there and be the salt and the light everywhere you go. Thank you for showing up right now to right now. See you next time. Bye.
Ascend Above the Crowd is the newest course by Pamela Henkel. Ascend is a self-paced email course that will come directly to your inbox and will change your mindset and your life. Each week, you will receive lessons, resources, challenges, and journal writings that will help you discover your purpose by design. It's your time to ascend above the crowd. To learn more about Ascend, go to www.purposewithpamela.com/ascend.
Pamela Henkel is the founder of the Purpose Center. Pamela is a mindset mentor, author, speaker, minister, and transformation coach. Her weekly podcast, international radio show, and television show are a lifeline that changes lives and inspires people to discover their individual potential through realizing their purpose by design. Pamela is a natural motivator and has shown many how to find their niche and transform their lives. Although success is an uphill battle, Pamela gives the necessary strategies to flourish, cheering you on every step of the way. Pamela shares from her personal experiences, education, and life as a woman in leadership, utilizing decades of knowledge. Taking the approach of, let's have coffee and chat, she will awaken your dreams and purpose by design. Are you ready for Pamela to help guide you? Email us at purposewpamela.office@gmail.com or go to her website at purposewithpamela.com.